Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Dychronic, your host here on this Borderlands 3 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at a build for Fl4k, which I call the DPS fadeaway. And oh my god, this build does ridiculous amounts of damage. Now this is actually not a build that I came up with. Link to the original source in the description down below, and honestly this build has been in circulation for quite a while now, and it's actually pretty common among a lot of people, but I wanted to bring this to you guys because this thing is actually kind of game changing, and there's a reason why they nerfed Fl4k and he's still really powerful right now. So in a nutshell, I just wanted to explain how this build works. The idea is using fadeaway, where you go invisible and you get extra shots of crit damage guaranteed no matter where you shoot enemies, and with different augmentations you can make it a duration rather than a certain number of shots, and you absolutely just dump damage, doing insane amounts of damage, guaranteeing crits no matter where you shoot certain enemies. And it's just kind of ridiculous how much damage you can get up to, on top of just getting extra bonuses from different kill skills. It gets kind of insane. Not to mention that the cooldown is usually around like 5 to 10 seconds, and the duration of fadeaway is around 12 seconds. You're just always fading away, you're always dumping damage. It's great. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the different skills and loadout that I use for this particular build. And if you wanted access to literally just the build in this skill tree builder on the Borderlands.com website, in the description down below, you can find a link to literally this, so you don't have to click on frames of the video. You can just look at that if you want. As far as the loadout down here, I like to go with the Gunslinger Jabber. Gives you extra crit hit damage, always nice to have. On top of that, for the action skill, Fadeaway, which is the crux of this build, basically guaranteeing you crit hits when you're actually in the invisibility fadeaway, which is very, very important, and giving you extra crit hit damage is pretty insane. Following that, giving the augmentation of Gorillas in the Mist, making it so it's an 8-second duration, and giving you less bonuses for the fadeaway, but instead of just being 3 shots, it's 8 seconds of continuous shots. Is way better. And then lastly, Unblinking Eye, giving you an extra 75% per hit crit hit damage. Is crazy when coupled with fadeaway, because you're just doing crits at all times. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the different perks and the order that I would recommend you get them as far as the trees go. First up, I like to go into Furious Attack. Every time you shoot an enemy, you get Furious Attack stacks, which give you extra handling, extra gun damage, so if you're basically if you're spamming out, you get more bonuses. After that, I go 5 points into Overclock, giving you more fire rate after reloading, and just generally more fire rate means better DPS. It's really nice to have. After that, I put 3 points into Turn, Tail, and Run. This is very important to see the second half of this. You get extra gun damage and fire rate while you're standing still. So every time you activate your fadeaway, you want to stand still so you get the big bonus of 25% and an extra 12% of fire rate. After that, I put 2 points into Self-Repairing System, giving you an extra regeneration, and max health is actually pretty important for the following set of perks, making it so you have more gun damage and movement speed when your health is above half, which is really important because this is an extra 25%. And then finally, after that, I put 2 points into Hidden Machine, which gives you an extra bit of gun damage. But honestly, the main purpose of putting those last 2 points here is so that you can unlock the ability to have Unblinking Eye. Unblinking Eye being a very, very good augment, and that's why we put those 2 points here, but it is gun damage, which is nice to have. As for the blue tree, I put 3 points into Persistence Hunter. It's actually a very important perk to give you more gun damage, more action skill duration, so that's 45% longer action skill, which turns this 8 seconds into closer around to 12 seconds, which is pretty powerful. And this is something I highly recommend you get pretty early on. Starting here at the top, Interplanetary Stalker, giving you more damage and more bonuses to lots of different enemies once you start killing enemies, and this actually starts to stack, so if you start to dump on enemies, you start to dump on them more. After that, I like to have Head Count, which is a very, very important perk, which anytime you get a crit hit, there's a chance your action skill cooldown is reduced. Where Fadeaway actually guarantees you crits, outside of Fadeaway you also get more crits, basically guaranteeing you around a 5 to second downtime between fadeaways, making it so you have fadeaway most of the time, which is pretty cool. After that, putting 2 points in Leave No Trace, allowing your crit hits to put 1 ammo back in the magazine, or at least a chance to do so, making it so your magazines are basically bigger, which is really nice to have. Then putting 5 points into 2 Fang, giving you an extra projectile chance, giving you extra projectile, more chances to proc this, more damage, always nice to have. Following that, Big Game, giving your hunter skills more effect and duration. If you do not know, hunter skills are all these skills that are in the hunter or the orange tree. This is the hunter tree, so everything in here gives you more effectiveness and more duration, which is pretty powerful. Following that, putting 2 points into the Most Dangerous Game, giving you bonuses for 120 seconds after defeating a badass. And if you're playing a lot of Mayhem 3, defeating badasses or having badasses is not a problem, and you can actually start to chain badass skills and get huge stacks of bonuses. And in the last row, we have Galactic Shadow, more crit hit damage, and then of course we have Grim Harvest, giving you more gun damage and action skill damage. Just a great set of perks, a lot of gun damage, a lot of crit hit overall pretty much everywhere. I did want to mention very briefly the reason why we're not using Megavore. Basically gives you a 20% chance to crit in the body, which is cool sounding, but the fact that we have fadeaway that guarantees a crit in the body, and we have this basically either half to 75% of the time, Megavore is really not that useful, on top of the fact that perk allotment really just does not allow for it. You know, having 3 points here is very, very important for the action skill duration. Getting enough points to get all the way down to Unblinking Eye is also very important, and we just literally don't have enough points by that point to actually get Megavore. As far as class mods go, there's a bunch of different perks that would really benefit from getting more points in that would actually kind of make this build even way crazier. First of all, Persistence Hunter, making it so your action skill duration is longer, would be really kind of insane. After that, getting more head count, making it so your action skill cools down faster, is also going to be really, really important. Outside of that, in the Gray Stars, Two Fang, Big Game, Furious Attack, and Overclock, these are all things that are really the better skills out of this insane build. As far as artifacts go for things with extra damage, crit, action skill cooldown, and action skill duration. These are all great things to have for this particular build. And that's pretty much it for the build. It's really kind of simple once it's all set up. You just pop fade away, stand still, and dump into the enemies. Outside of that, it's just shooting enemies. There's not really any special thing with grenades or your action ability. It just does a lot of damage, and it does it quite easily. And that's pretty much it for the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any ideas for some crazy and quirky builds. I wanted to start getting into interesting builds now that we have one for each character of really good builds. I wanted to go more into like the crazy and the weird builds, and some of these might actually be really, really effective in Mayhem 3 that we may not realize. So come up with the weird ones, and we'll see what we can make. But anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. My name has been Dychronic, and I will see you guys on the next one.